I'm a huge fan of killer doll movies. Chucky is obviously the main one. You get demonic toys, you get Puppet Master. There's a host of other ones as well. One that I'd never seen is Dolly Dearest from the 80s, which I was always kind of curious about. I love the idea of this little doll at the start of it. And you're thrown into this story fairly quickly of a family unit. We've got the father, mother, a kind of almost teenage son, and then the younger little girl. They're moving down to Mexico where their father has bought a production plant of this doll company. And when he gets down there, it turns out the plant isn't as elaborate as he first thought. It's pretty much a shack in the middle of the desert with these kind of dolls littered about. It looks rather cobwebby, dusty, and not the kind of business enterprise that he thought he was going to get. Also, in the middle of this desert where there's nothing else round about it, except just outside the back door, there is an excavation site for a Mayan temple. And we get to have seen another scene at the start where a man is excavating something. This red light bursts out of a door, kills him, and flies into one of the little dolls. When they're touring this plant, if I can call it that, the little girl spots the doll and goes, I would like that one because it's got an extra kind of kick in it in the form of this demonic soul. She takes the doll back to the house, and of course things start to change in the usual and typical fashion. Now, I was kind of curious about this one because it had a couple of big names in it. Denise Crosby is the mother in this one, and Rip Torn is in the movie as well. So it's got a couple of good names on it. It has some interesting production values to it as well. It doesn't look like your typical low budget movie. It has a sense that it has some kind of money behind it, backing it. The footage of the doll has that kind of uncanny valley feel about it because it does look odd. It's a doll that comes to life. But there is multiple versions of it, and it all looks really creepy and effective when it does show that later on in the movie. And you get to see the little girl's personality change as the doll is kind of inhabiting her a little bit and forcing her to do things. But this movie doesn't take any risks. It follows the plot of what you think it's going to be exactly to a T. It offers very little in the form of surprises. It offers very little in the form of scares. It seems to be following tropes in this subgenre to a T. And that is the most detrimental thing to this movie. Not to say that it's bad, but it has nothing interesting in it at all. It's one of the first ones I've seen of Vinegar Syndrome where I just felt bored. Nothing interesting was happening. Nothing bad enough was there to go, oh, that's a really funny choice. Oh, that's terrible acting. It was just, everything was by the numbers. And that's one of the worst things I can say about a movie. When I watch something, I want to either be surprised or challenged or, at least excited by the enthusiasm behind trying to make a movie for a low budget. But this seems to have good production standards, some good set design, some good creature makeup with the doll, some interesting early CG kind of moments in it as well. It just doesn't come together. It just doesn't feel anything more than perfunctory. Horrible way to kind of feel about a movie once you've watched it, that has possibilities there. They could have made this a little bit more gorier. They could have made this a little bit more of, is it a demonic spirit? Or is it a child who has snapped of being taken out of her homeland and decided to kill people because, well, it doesn't really matter. They could have played with that aspect a lot more. From the opening beats of the movie, you kind of know roughly everything about where it's going to go. And even though some of the performances are kind of fun, like the teenage boy, which I kind of like his performance in the movie, nothing is there that makes me go, I really want to revisit that. I want to go back and check this movie out again. It's just unfulfilling. The worst thing you can say about a movie is its average. Dolly Dearest. is average. I wish it could have been more. Like the cover kind of announces something spectacular, but it never quite gets there. I would love to know your thoughts on Dolly Dearest, or where you think it stands in killer doll movies. Are there any low budget ones out there that I've missed out? You know, I mentioned Dolls, Demonic Toys, Puppet Master, those kind of movies. Those have a little bit more oomph to them. Are there anything else like that that I'm missing out? Let me know in the comment box below. And if you like these kind of reviews and you feel that I have earned your subscription this time, there's a little red box below. Please click that, and I will see you next time on Man v Film.